Welcome to Land Academy. This is the Cash Flow from Land show, where we show you how to buy unwanted vacant land and sell it for more on the internet. I'm Steve Butala.
I'm Jill DeWitt.
We are your hosts. With over 15,000 completed transactions, we are the experts in this niche land flipping business.
We hold a drawing to win a free property every month. Enter to win by reviewing this show on iTunes and downloading our free ebook at landacademy.com. All right, let's get this show started.
Today, Jill and I speak with super successful Land Academy member Mike Dugan. Mike is new at flipping land, and he'll clear about $30,000 on his first set of deals. Let's find out why. Mike Dugan, a new and incredibly successful member of landacademy.com, is a database developer and business intelligence programmer from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's dabbled with traditional single-family residential real estate in the past, but he's currently focusing his efforts on making money with rural land investment through his company, inaudible.all. He's been married for 28 years and has 6 children.
Wow.
We'll skip all that other stuff. How's that go with 6 children?
Oh, it's great. My wife's been a homemaker for a long time, so she bears the brunt of the work, honestly. So, and the first 4 were natural, and then we had a gap, and then the last 2 were little girls adopted from China. So, yeah, so it's been a fun journey with that. So. But yeah, so we have from age 30 down to age 6 right now.
That's what I was going to ask you. Can you reel off all the stats, like their names, their birth dates, and their ages all in a row, and then do it backwards?
Not so much.
Because I have one kid, and I really don't know what his birthday is.
Yeah. Social Security numbers, doing taxes all these years, I think I have all those memorized.
That's why you're so good at this.
I love it. So are you in Grand Rapids, Mike?
I am in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I forgot that detail. What's the weather like right now?
We had an awesome break. Halloween was awful, rainy and cold and miserable. But then the next day it broke, so it's sunny. We're in the 70s now. Got those nice leaves on the tree. Just great weather that's supposed to last for maybe another week. And then the not-so-good stuff is probably going to start happening.
Got it.
Jill's whole extended family is from Grand Rapids.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
In fact, Jill, you still have family, don't you? There?
I do. Well, I still have family A, and I do have family there. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Grand Rapids and hey, in case you're listening, my favorite aunt and uncle are in Byron Center.
Awesome.
So, yeah, they're 2 of our 4 listeners.
Yeah. Well, Mike's got 6 kids, so we have 10 now.
Oh, now we have 10 listeners. Great.
So, Mike, like I alluded to, I wanted you to have on the show, and thanks again for the last minute thing. I see you in Success Plan reporting incredible results. So, first of all, how did you find Land Academy, and what made you decide to kind of go down the path with our program?
Well, I think it's basically, I've always thought there was money to be made in real estate, and I kind of, as my biography alludes to a little bit, dabbled with the single-family residential with very limited success, nothing to shout about at all, and actually got a little bit of a black eye on a couple transactions that made both my wife and I skittish about jumping into anything like that again. So I kind of knew that there was money to be made, but she was very tentative and hesitant to even talk about real estate type stuff again. So I think probably a year or so ago, I think I found my way onto the Bigger Pockets forums and started, just trying to see what people are doing, how people are making money. And that seemed like a very legitimate, great place to learn about all different aspects of real estate. And I think somewhere in there, I started to see the postings or maybe some of the ads regarding the land business. And I kind of took a couple hops into your program. I think I found one of your competitors first. I purchased their program, and it was okay, but the material itself and the logical order of how things were presented was not great. It was kind of haphazard, and I'm kind of an analytical guy, and it was just was frustrating to me. It seemed like I knew there was something to this, and there was something with the land business, but the program didn't really wow me. But it did, show me that things were possible. And so I think in doing that, from there, somehow I found my way into your websites, and I'm not sure which one I hit first. But when I started following you, it's not been that long since you've put out the Land Academy program.
Right.
And so I followed that release, and just based on how the writing style and the blog posts, the podcasts, and just some of the communication going on, it just seemed like this was a better way for me, at least, to learn. And so, I think I was one of the early adopters or early on board with purchasing the program. And I was very satisfied and happy when I got it. It was very professionally and well done, laid out, logically went through things in the order I think you would want to go through, as far as I perceive. And so I was very happy with making the switch, and then just started to, think about how to work the program, really.
That's great. I'll tell you, one of the things that happened with our member base that was completely unintentional on my part when we launched all this is how technical and, most of the people in our membership seems to be pretty technical, or seems to want to have things laid out from an A to B to C kind of thing. Like, show us a whole transaction from start to finish is something that that many people have asked me to do long before we put the transaction or put the program together. So I'm glad you see it that way. I don't know how else it could be written or explained any better from an A to B to C standpoint. Do you?
No. And again, I'm a technical guy, a programmer, databases, and do a lot of Excel work. So, my heart was just singing and jumping when I saw the videos of you jumping and skipping around Excel, doing pivots and sorts and all that kind of stuff. So I knew I was in the right place.
Oh, that's great to hear.
I love it. Can I jump in? I want to say first, thank you, Mike. I really appreciate your kind words, and I'm really glad that it, you got what we put into it, and B, what about my parts?
Yes. Your parts were awesome too, Jill. Again, the acquisition and purchasing, the analytical side of the world came first, so I just was addressing that first. As we delve in the sales side, your praises will be sung. Don't worry.
No, it's all good, because it's funny because, you can clearly tell when you get into the program, Steven's forte, and he's really good at that. And that's so not my thing. And my forte and why it all works well together. So I'm glad. Thank you.
We were putting that whole thing together, and I'm like, this is going to be dry and boring and all technical and turn everybody off. And so I said, we got to put Jill in here to make this entertaining a little bit and fun and stuff. And I think it worked out okay.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. And again, one of the funny things that happened is 45 minutes before this call, I got a Google voicemail from another response on that first mailing I did. And it had been kind of quiet. I had got great response. I think we talked earlier on another call. And so it's just great. The calls keep coming in. But the part that Jill's going to help me with on that is this guy sound like he's probably 140 years old or something. I can barely hear him. He's probably on an oxygen mask. And the part I understood is, well, I paid $20,000 for this 15 years ago. I want to talk, but I'm not sure that's the right price. So the Jill's negotiating and kindly beating people up on price will come in handy probably right after this call.
Well, I'm gonna, I want to know exactly how you got from buying the package to doing real estate deals in a second. But Jill, I want to hear your answer. What's your answer about how to handle somebody who's 140 years old?
Gosh.
Who clearly overpaid 20 or 30 years ago for a property. They're on oxygen. What else did you say, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't understand what they say.
Right.
Yeah. He's in Florida, so I know he's probably at the early blue plate special somewhere.
Exactly. Oh gosh, I just befriend them and just talk really nice, and it's once I explain, that's great, and I appreciate that. But gosh, here's what it's worth now, and I'm happy to do it, and I'll make it really, really easy for you, and I'll hold your hand through the whole thing. And your daughter, what? Oh, okay, well, I'll help that too, So just that kind of thing. And what's interesting is some people, I can send them pictures and images and kind of show them, I know you really thought this was going to really develop right next door, but here's an aerial shot showing you, unfortunately, the mall didn't come in or the whatever didn't do it. Then they kind of get it. But some of the older people, I've had people, they don't even have email. It's actually kind of sweet. They don't fax. They mail you stuff.
Wow.
It's kind of funny, but it's okay. Sometimes too, when it comes, if it doesn't work out right now, sit tight in a couple months. It might work out because you might be the only person that's willing to work with them and offer them something for it. So in a few months from now, they might say, okay, we'll do it with you. We like you, and and all that, and you're going to help us. So there you go.
I looked through, Jill. Right. I looked through our acquisition listing, or all the pending acquisitions that we have, and there's a deal in there. This is good for you to hear too, Mike. I looked through the whole list of acquisitions. There's a deal in there that is 200 acres in Texas. It's 3 properties, 100 and then a 50 and a 50. And so, we record a lot of the phone calls, not all of them, but some of the phone calls between the people who we purchase real estate from and sell it and stuff. And I found the original call from between you and this woman, Jill. Mm-hmm. And you did exactly what you just described. In fact, mm-hmm. we should do a podcast on this where we listen to some of the calls and then talk about it, because by the end of that call, she just was ready to do this transaction with you. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I could tell that she's not, if she's talking to anybody else or wants to list it with an agent or anything, I don't think she will. I think she wants to hear from you again.
Mm-hmm. It's really nice.
So you have that touch somehow.
Well, I make it easy for them, and they thank me later on. Gosh, thanks for making it easy. God, I didn't have to go to the coffee shop. You had the notary come to me. You had it all ready to go, and a check in my hand in 2 days as promised. And I get nice thank you notes afterwards. They want to get something for it, and it's all good.
Yeah, that's great. So, Mike, start from the beginning, please. So you purchased the program, you went through it, and then what happened? How did you get to this large transaction that you're doing?
So basically, I went through all the material, and I made a commitment to myself, because I think this is where I may have gone astray in times past, is that I was really going to follow the program to a T. I think I've sometimes got emotionally involved, like in a single-family residence, where I talked myself into it being worth more than it was, or juggling the numbers to make it work. And so I really made a commitment to myself this time. I'm going to work with the ratios that I see in the program. I'm going to do things by the book. I'm not going to vary at all, or if I do, very little. And so that was number one. I said, these people are doing this successfully. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to be emotionally detached from this as much as possible. And just work the system. So that was kind of the foundation of even starting. And so then, the thought of mailing out like 100 letters a week or 20 a day, which I think is a suggestion either in your program or other programs, is maybe where a lot of people start. But I happen to have enough extra money laying around that I wanted to, really just hit a good chunk of people with the mailing. So I went ahead and did the 2,000 unit mailer for 5-acre parcels in a certain county in Colorado, and again did that by the book. Got the list from the county directly. I didn't have to do the pay for service type thing as of yet. I know I probably will as I get into other areas, but for this county, it was available for free. And,
good, okay.
Yeah, it was very filterable. And so I was easily able to extract what I wanted, and worked with the mailing company that a lot of people use. I forget the name actually right now. I think it's on the form, letterprinting.net or something like that. And they were great to work with. I followed the program as far as having the front cover page, did the mail merge, just swapped out, name and phone numbers and things like that, and really followed the mailing part of this thing as far as gathering the list and doing the mailing per the instructions, really without variation. Got a P.O. box set up at a pack mail, got a Google Voice number set up so I don't have to take the disgruntled, I can't believe you're offering me this much phone calls that we all get when we start doing this, or continue to do it, I guess. And so sent those out standard mail. And I think one of the things I didn't realize that standard mail does have the delay that they say you'll have 2 to 3 weeks. So it was kind of quiet. Wasn't 100% sure that my mailing had really gotten out successfully, but then started to get the response. So I got phone calls on my Google Voice. I got faxes into my fax to email program.
Great.
Got letters into the P.O. box. I think I got a few emails, where people scanned and emailed back. And maybe had 1 or 2 actually from the web submission form from my website.
Wow.
So I got communicated to through all those different methods that we were taught to set up. So that was kind of step 1, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good step 1.
Fantastic.
And so once they started coming, again, I was not prepared that I had, was going to get the response I got. And so I started getting a lot of calls in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I kind of see the wisdom of doing 20 a day or 100 a week because you kind of spread out your offers with what you have to deal with. Not that I'm complaining, but for 2 or 3 weeks, I was taking a lot of calls, trying to learn for the first time how to deal with the county resources and talking to people. And so it was kind of just being thrown in the deep end and seeing if we can swim or not. And so it's a great experience. I wouldn't change it. But again, I do see the wisdom of being consistent, maybe smaller with your mailing at times. So, so that took me to that step. And, I had all kinds of things happen as far as some of the, voicemails I've saved because they're so comical, and played them for my wife, just some of the rude and, responses that you get from people. And we got faxes back where they said, yeah, we'd like to sell, but crossed out my price and put in their price. Uh-huh. But got plenty back that said, yeah, let's talk. And so in that first wave of 2 to 3 weeks, I had, I'm going to guess, 40 to 50 people that responded in some way. Nice. And out of that, I've got 11 parcels that I've purchased at the price that I wanted. And I have 4 to 5 that I'm going to call back after I sell 2 to 3, and I probably can pick up maybe a little higher than my initial price. But as I have, got some experience in the market, and as I sell these and see what I can sell them for, that'll let me know if I can go up on my purchase side and still make money. So that'll give me a little time to do that. And I've had good initial contacts with people, so they're kind of waiting for me to get back. So, and some of those were the kind of things you talk about in the program, like, there's a will involved, or probate, or my mom left this to me and I'm not sure that, what the deed is, how it's actually worded. So I took the low-hanging fruit first. Again, per your instructions, you very clearly say, hey, work on the easy deals, get to the complex ones later. So all of those are in a pile that when I want to go back to, I can get into and take time and work. But so these 10 were just straight up, get a notary out to them, get them a cashier's check, and do the deal. And the other cool thing was, per the instructions, is always see if they have more. Out of these 11 I purchased, one of them was a group of 4 from one person. So, I asked the question, or I think they might have even brought it up before I asked the question. So they, one of them was a 4-lot deal. So, so it's been great. Like I said, there's 4 or 5 more with some more work I think I can get close to my price. And so that got me my initial inventory here. And all these deeds as of, 3 or 4 days ago, all have been recorded. I haven't got them all back yet, but in talking with the county people, they're all officially recorded in my name. or the company's name, I should say. And
your work day sounds just like ours.
Yeah.
And you're like, what, 2 months into this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're 15 years into it. And I'm seriously, I'm proud of you, man. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Well, like I said, the program is very, very well laid out. And again, it was fun to listen to, had the right amount of inspiration and levity and all that to keep you interested when things potentially could get a little dry or academic or whatever.
Right.
So it was great. And so
what are the raw numbers? So you sent 2,000 out, right? 2,000 letters out, all in one county?
Yeah, all one county, all 1 5-acre size, and a couple different areas, but 5 acres. And I believe we were also taught that by doing that you kind of hopefully get things that are often in the same price range or per acre range, so that when you're making your offers, you don't potentially have to do as much individual per parcel research. You can kind of view them as similar type things, and that proved to be true with these, minus one or two parcels.
And so you think you're probably the low hanging fruits that, like you said, you're going to purchase or have purchased how many units?
Yeah, so 11 are purchased. One was quickly flipped, just for like $600 profit to another land seller, with the pure intent of proving to my wife that money to be made in this, because she was very nervous.
Right.
Because what I did is, I'm all in on these when I count my notary, my photography, fees, postage, land, and the mailing. I'm all in on 10 parcels or 11 parcels for $14,200. Okay. So I've got roughly $1,400 or whatever the number is per parcel.
Okay.
And so that's, I know individually I should be measuring them, but kind of in my mind, I'm viewing this whole set as a transaction and looking for profit out of it as a group.
Right. And what do you think you're going to sell them for?
All right. Well, so again, the first one is a quick flip just to make my wife feel comfortable that this is a real business and you really can make money and people really do buy stuff that we might not buy.
Right.
And another part of the program says that one of the things you really need to make sure you do is try to contact or work with neighbors, because they often are the people who will want to buy the property to either do a buffer or add to their property. So on one of these properties that I knew was a little better than the other ones, I had my photographer, when he was out there, throw a for sale by owner, call Mike at my phone number sign in the yard. And 3 days later, I got a call from the guy and said, hey, we just saw this, and I own the lot on either side of you and behind you. What do you want to sell it for? And so I did the salesman thing and said, well, I've got a realtor going out to look. Let me see what he says it's worth, and you think about what it's worth to you, and we'll talk, next week. So, again, the realtor, by the time all the fees and the sale price of close to 13 got done, he thought that probably I could net 10,000 on that one. And the neighbor, as we negotiated a bit and got to where he and I said okay to 8,000, and awesome. So that is, he's in the process of finding a notary. The one thing I had to do with him is because I didn't even have that deed back yet. I
love that.
That's what Jill does.
Yeah. Isn't it great? The ink's still wet. Let me just see if I can do white out here.
Yeah. So, needed to know that I really owned it. He goes, who's this Glinda lady? And I said, well, I bought it from her, but I don't have the deed in yet. So I had to get a copy of that and get to him. And so he will be, finding a notary up here, sending a cashier's check, and we're supposed to do that by the end of this weekend. And so I figured, the bird in the hand type analogy is I could wait for 10. It might take a month to 6 months, but if I can get 8 without even having to do any of the selling side work.
Yeah.
Especially starting out, let's just do it. And so that gives me 300%, which is kind of one of our target numbers in the program. So
yeah, 300, it's 3 times what you paid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, yep, that seems like a winner to me. So, so that's, again, that should close by the weekend here.
So
I have to say, Aaron and I were talking about this. The numbers that we are just casually throwing around, I think for the rest of the world is like, what the heck? Aaron and I were talking today about just big picture stuff. You're like, what do you think Walmart's return is? And look what we talk about. And you guys are doing it right now. I mean, it's just amazing what we're even 200%. I mean, double your money, not even, it's just amazing. And right now, and I appreciate too, I know, Mike, sometimes it's hard and we even catch ourselves sometimes, can't get emotional, look at it as a numbers thing, and you did awesome. I am so impressed.
I catch myself all the time saying, we're only going to double our money on this.
Right.
We've got $500 or $800 into this piece of property, and the guy wants to offer us $4,000 for this? No way. And then I catch myself, same thing, Jill, and I'm like, this is insane.
Right.
So
move on.
Yeah. That one deal's going to recoup. Then you're going to be left with probably about 10 properties that are pretty close to, if my math is right, you recoup most of your costs on the first deal, and the rest of it's for the most part margin.
Yeah, the projection is that there were 2 properties that were better than the other 8 that are remaining, and my goal is to, with the one that's selling this week and the next really good one, that between those 2 I get at or beyond my $14,000 whatever all-in cost, and then the other 8, what I can make on that's just pure profit. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it. Those 8 are just all the pure profit of this kind of first mailing. And so it's going to be, those 8 are very similar, and that's the part where I'm going to probably be putting on the salesman hat and maybe looking at the terms deals, and I just haven't thought that part all the way through yet.
So you obviously, if you follow the program to the letter, what do you think these are worth? Because that's one of the things that I talk about all the way through. Don't ever buy anything unless you know for pretty certain that you can double or triple or more make money on it. So what do you think the rest of those properties are worth combined?
Yeah, so per the research, as we're instructed to do, on eBay, I see very similar things selling at the, bargain basement,
right,
cheapest you can find for about $4,100. And I purchased them at roughly, $1,200 to $1,300 a parcel when I add the other stuff in and factor out the 2 slightly more expensive ones. So I will be able to, if I want to do the eBay route and just sell them quick and dirt cheap, then I can do that and at least double or triple my money pretty easy. Again, I believe from what I see and have learned that Craigslist and LandWatch and some of those other places I can do even better than that. And so that's what I want to work through, and postlets and all that good stuff. So again, it's just been having the time to actually think that all through. But now I have all the deeds through, getting this thing back, and even my pictures aren't all back yet. My photographer hasn't, I overwhelmed him. I sent him out to, do like 6 or 8 properties all at once, and he's just this part-time kid, and now he's got to go all over, this county in Colorado. So some of my pictures aren't even all back in yet. So I've got to get the marketing side up to speed. So, but yeah, I think easily on average, I can't see how I can't make 3,000 profit on each one of those, without doing too much work, and a lot more if I'll take my time. So.
I have something I want to ask about. Did you have any hesitation or anything? Because you're in Michigan, they're in Colorado. You're not out there. You're not looking at them. You're not seeing anything. You're not even talking to your sellers face to face. Did you have any I don't know, I'm just thinking for people that are considering this. It seems like it's a question that comes up. So do you have any advice for them, I guess, about, doing it in another state?
I don't. And I think one of the reasons why I don't is because I think 3 or 4 years just in my looking around on eBay, trying to think what could I do personally to, do something with a little extra money. I found some of these land sellers on eBay. And I think I found property in Colorado and Wyoming and Nevada and Texas. And all those things looked like great deals to me. The $100 or $200 down, $100 a month for 5 or 10 or 20 acres. Mm-hmm. And I remember, being an analytical guy, not easily given to that seemed like a great deal to me, and I was happy and ready to do it without seeing the property. And so I think to myself, on the purchasing side, I was easily, happy to do that. And so on purchasing side, the same thing. I just applied it and said, if I get pictures of the place and I see that other people are buying and selling stuff that looks the same as my pictures, why do I have to be there? Why do I even need to see it on either the purchasing or the selling side? I really don't.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you were warmed up to this business model before you started.
Oh, yeah, I was. And I think, Steve, what really warmed me up to it was about 4 years ago. We go down to North Carolina into the mountains every year as a family vacation, and we were looking to buy a 2, 3, 4 acre lot to someday build a cabin on, which is kind of part of the dream we help people see, and on the purchasing side or our selling side, their purchasing side. And I ended up getting a 3 acre deal there that was $55,000 or $60,000 that I offered 30 or 35 on, 35 I think, to a person who had to change their plans because the husband had cancer and their whole life changed. And I almost felt bad offering that low, but it really solved their problem. It got them money. It got them out of an obligation, and it got me a great deal. And so I actually, without even thinking of land buying and selling as a business, kind of did what we do. Now, not quite the same margins, but so when I started hearing about land selling as a business, I said, well, I've already kind of done this. Somebody needed to get rid of a property, at a much lower than normal price, and I was happy to provide it, and they walked away free and clear of a burden. I got a great deal. So to me, it's like I'd already actually done this once, but without even thinking about it.
That was the bug that bit you, that deal.
That probably was, yeah.
Well, you know what I love, too? Like you just said, you solved their problem, too. Everybody walked away happy.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, this was just, probably a broken dream to them that they would never be able to have. And it just, every month they made the payment, it reminded them. And so they got that off their plate and got to deal with their medical issues and have extra money or whatever. So
you're going to make between $20,000 and $40,000 on this first mailing.
Yes, easily 20 and shooting for closer to 30 to 40.
Gosh, that's just amazing.
Is your wife shopping?
We do it here every day.
Is your wife shopping today?
No. She's warming up to the business now. Let me say it that way. So as she sees the response, she still says, I mean, I think even 2 days ago, she was telling one of her friends, she goes, I can't believe it. It's desert. Why would anybody go out and buy this? I don't get it. And honey, you don't have to understand. I mean, there are people that want to disappear. They want to just throw a trailer there and be there most of the time or hunt. And it doesn't have to be something we want or that we would do. We need to know there's a market and people will buy it.
If I had a nickel for every time someone asked me that or made that comment, and it goes all the way up the chain. Very successful commercial real estate people. Every time we start to talk about this, they can't believe it either. So it's not just your wife's friends. People don't understand why the middle of nowhere type property can be so profitable, which is great. It works out for people like us because it just keeps a lot of people out of the business.
Yeah, that works out well.
It does. So what are your goals? I mean, have you sat and mapped out the next 2 years for you? Have you, based on what's happening right now, or is there some big changes coming?
Yeah, so my next goal is to, once I sell this other property and hit my break even for this first mailing, I'm going to do another mailing for the next acreage up, which is like the 10 to 20 acre type range in the same county. I believe, again, in the literature and the training and the DVDs, that one of the things, if you stick within a certain couple counties, you get to know the people, how to register the deed.
Yes.
And so it's starting to get easy. I mean, I know the assessor by first name. I call up and order a deed, and I know how to work the websites and all that. So it's like, that learning curve I want to take advantage of. So I'm just going to scale up, and with the thought that these properties go for more. People are probably less inclined to sell them that low, but there still will be a certain number that will. So but there'll be more profit in it. So again, I think the numbers will equal out, that if I do a similar mailing, that I can have similar results. So my goal really, if I were to look at this as all cash, and again, I'm not sure that I'm doing all cash, even this mailing, but just at a pure all cash basis, is if I could make 60 or 80,000 in the first year as, my part-time extra thing I do, that would be great. And, that would just be a nice pool of money to be able to, that's extra that I could buy stuff and then sell it on terms. Still would maybe like to get some single family residential stuff, but this time buy it right and, have cash to do it and not be over leveraged and all that. So yeah, I have some goals that way. So really my thinking right now is just finishing this mailing successfully and kind of what that next mailing is going to be. And then also maybe finding another county to work as well. But I think I'm busy and good for the next 3 to 4 months from what I can tell. And then beyond that, I need to map out next steps. But that's probably as far as I've mentally got, just because I kind of got swamped.
You're repeating what I did in the 90s. I purchased a few properties, doubled, tripled my money on them. And then it continued from there, and I accumulated about $80,000 to $100,000 cash. The first, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was around the first 2 or 3 months, or 2 or 3, or it was the first 24 months. And then I used that money that was it. I never put any money in again. Even to this day, I have not put any money in. So, and you could see, what unfolded in the numbers in the ebook.
Great.
So. We couldn't pay somebody to come on the program and make this stuff up.
Exactly. I love it. This is great. Thank you for sharing your stories and your time and all of that. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for thinking of me and get me on the call.
Oh, absolutely. Again, you're an inspiration, even for us.
You want to plug your new company real quick again?
oh, sure. It's inaudible.all. Again, it's a work in progress. Again, it's been kind of sitting while I've been scrambling with all this other stuff. But I'm a IT computer guy, so it'll get a lot better. But inaudible.all, and so it's and one of the things you just mentioned is, as I've seen these programs, having other people tell you their everyday success stories does help inspire you and make it real. I talked to you about the competitors program that I didn't like so much. The one good thing I remember going to kind of a conference is I ended up sitting next to guys who actually had done some mailings and gotten some results. And just knowing that everyday people like me were really doing this and really making money was helpful and inspiring. So that's kind of why I've been posting on the website. Part of me thinks, well, is this kind of bragging or whatever? But I thought, no, people really need to know that real people are doing this, and you really can make money if you keep plugging away. So that's why I've been kind of posting, just to keep other people moving along if they're hitting some bumps.
That was my next question: is how is your experience with Success Plant been? Success Plant is our online membership. It's kind of like our small little bigger pockets for what we all do. And so you've had a good experience there.
Oh yeah. I love reading what people are doing, and when people relate some of their struggles, I kind of get that. And so yeah, it's just been great to see people doing like-minded things. And yeah, you do pick up tips and tidbits too of where and how to mail, and what currently is working, and just different things about different counties even. So yeah, it's definitely just good to always at least peruse the titles and pick out the ones that seem to pique your interest.
Great. Hey, is there any way we could improve that site, Success Plant, off the top of your head?
Let me think. I can't think of any offhand. Well, here's one. Again, I know if we put our names in with a certain format, we get alerted when when a post has happened. I don't know if there is like a switch in that system or that platform that would let you just get any updated post or question, period, whether your name was in it or not. Because I would be interested in just, hey, anytime anybody posted any question or response, I'd be happy just to get it pinging on, a messenger or on a website or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we conditionally do it now, but just to always get everything might be interesting.
You know what I'm going to do is I'll change your user type. This is beyond the scope of this call, but I'll change your user type to something upgraded, probably moderator, and you'll be able to do that.
Oh, cool.
I built that site myself, so I actually know, unlike most things, I actually know something a little bit about it.
I love it. That's so
great.
That's
great. Yeah.
You know what I heard? I was just thinking, like, I heard the benefits of a live event, and I got to tell you, Mike, that Stephen and I keep throwing that around, doing something like that. So I don't know, but I like hearing your story about sitting next to some people that are really doing it. So we'll keep you posted if we decide to do something like that, because we'd love to have you maybe come out and be a part of it and tell your story, just like you're doing right now. Yeah. It's really great.
The warmer the weather, the more inclined I'll be to come.
Yeah, I'll call you in February, and you'll be like, I don't care. I'm paying for my own ticket, Jill. Can I sleep on your couch? Sure. Love it.
Mike Dugan, it was such a pleasure to have you. I really appreciate your taking the time to explain your success. And I've been strangely speechless on this whole call. I'm real happy for you, man.
Oh, great. No, I appreciate all the teaching and the coaching. So thank you as well.
Thanks.
Great. If you need anything, you know where to find us.
We do. Yep. We'll find you.
All right. Great.
Great job.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Thanks,
all right.
Bye. I didn't expect that. Did you? I expected him to kind of talk about the deal that he's doing, because I see it in Success Plan all the time, but I didn't expect him to have such a backstory or a history of, I think this has been, what I heard him say is this kind of business model has been on his mind, and he's been trying to get it out of his system and get it into play, and he just hasn't had the right resources.
Well, who doesn't I think the majority of people in life think that owning something like real estate and land is valuable. So we kind of grow up with that, don't we? Mm-hmm. But he had his feet wet in it already, like you're saying, and I just love it. His experience leading up to this was just perfect. So I was really impressed with how well he followed everything, and just perfect proof that hang in there, do the A, B, C, D, E, and here's what happens. And he did that, and that's what happened.
Right.
It's great.
This topic keeps coming up more and more. He had an experience with a single family residential rental or a flip, and it was negative. You're right. I keep answering questions like this in Bigger Pockets on a daily basis, literally on a daily basis, and they say, what did I do wrong? And I think that the single family residential as a rental or an investment is almost the asset and the numbers involved is almost set up to fail before you even do it at all.
Isn't that interesting? You're right. There's a lot of people that have a negative perception going into it, that they think because based on that all real estate must be bad, or there's some downside or something, that maybe they just feel like it's too much. I don't have it, whatever it is. And then once they get into just what we do and the simplicity of what we do, and it's a whole different world.
Right. When you look at the raw numbers on a single family residential deal, and this is why, how you and I talked about start your real estate career here with us. Mm-hmm. And go on and buy apartment buildings and houses if you want, and do whatever you want. But we were the basic place to start. When you look at the raw numbers in a residential real estate deal in a house, you're looking at paying $70,000, $80,000, $120,000 if you're lucky, and then renting it out for whatever, $1,000 or $1,200 if you're lucky. That's on the high end. And then you look at an apartment building, and I'm not plugging any of this stuff at all. I'm just saying, if you look at an apartment building, the way that professional apartment acquisition people look at it is price per door, and they usually try to stay around $25,000 to $35,000 to $55,000 a door for almost or about the same rent. So nobody talks about that. I just think I'm bringing all this up because I think you're set up to fail to spend $120,000 on a house that's old, it needs a lot of work, to rent it for $800 or $900 or $1,200.
Or like even like Mike's goal, it sounds like eventually that's his end goal, but he's using this as a resource to build up his cash, so he has the cash to pay for that
Sure.
Single family residence, and do it in a whole different, with a whole different, ball game attitude, whatever you want to say. You're not under the gun, and while you had no idea that you needed these reservations and a mortgage is due, and you can't rent it yet,
right?
And all of that.
That's what I mean. It's set up to fail,
right? When you paid cash for it, you're not stressed out like that. It's okay,
right?
So, and then anytime you can sell it, again. So if you need the cash out, okay.
Exactly. Anyway, that was a great call.
That was wonderful.
He's just set up mentally to do this. I think it's great. There's many other success stories that we have as this silly little company can you believe this silly little company we started, Jill?
I know. Well, and I want to say too, you don't have to be brainy to do this. So I don't want to everyone to think that, I got to be, look at these people that are really successful. They're programmers and this and that. Not true. Anybody can do this. So you don't have to be, we have, plenty of success stories from people in all walks of life and all people that don't have $14,000 to prop down on their starter properties. They're starting off slower, or not even slower. They're starting off with smaller units and building up. They'll catch up.
Yeah. I mean, don't take our word for it. Go to successplant. This is my plug. Go to successplant.com and take a look around. There's lots of $500 success stories in there.
I have another one. How about if someone wants to really listen to these stories as they're happening, they can probably reach out to me at jill@landacademy.com and ask to get a invite to our weekly ambition call. Don't shoot me on that, Stephen.
No, it's
okay. That's okay.
It's your inbox.
It's my inbox, right? I haven't done that before, but I'm going to do it once, and I might not do it again based on the response I get here after this airs. But I'll throw it out there if you want to, one-time invite and get on our weekly ambition call and hear us talking with our people and what's going on. We'll do it. So great.
Thank you as always, Jill. Enjoy our rainy day in Scottsdale.
I love it. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
We hold a drawing to win a free property every month. Enter to win by reviewing this show on iTunes and downloading our free ebook at landacademy.com.
If you want to get involved or you need more information about our profitable, niche real estate operation, call 480-467-0359. You just might get Jill at the other end of the line.
landacademy.com. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.